Every day. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Hari Hari Bol. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading it, chapter 7, chapter 1, verses starting at 1. King Parikshit inquired, my dear Brahmana, The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vishnu, being everyone's well-wisher, is equal and extremely dear to everyone. How then did he become partial like the common man for the sake of Indra and thus kill Indra's enemies? How can a person equal to everyone be partial to the sun and inimical toward others? Lord Vishnu himself, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is the reservoir of all pleasure. Therefore, what benefit would he derive from siding with the demigod? What interest would he fulfill in this way? Since the Lord is transcendental, why should he fear the Asuras, and how could he be envious of them? O greatly fortunate and learned Brahmana, whether Narayan is partial or impartial has become a subject of great doubt. Kindly dispel my doubt with positive evidence that Narayan is always neutral and equal to everyone. The great sage Sukadeva Goswami said, "My dear king, you have put before me an excellent question. Discourses concerning the activities of the Lord, in which the glories of his devotees are also found, are extremely pleasing to devotees. Such wonderful topics always counteract the miseries of the materialistic way of life. Therefore, great sages like Narada always speak upon Srimad Bhagavatam because it gives one the facility to hear and chant about the wonderful activities of the Lord. Let me offer my respectful obeisances unto Vyasadeva and then begin describing topics concerning the activities of Lord Hari. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vishnu, is always transcendental to material qualities, and therefore he is called Nirguna, or without qualities. Because he is unborn, does not have a material body to be subjected to attachment and hatred. Although the Lord is always above material existence through his spiritual potency, he appeared and acted like an ordinary human being, accepting duties and obligations, apparently like a conditioned soul. Why are you sitting in a chair? Why are you sitting in a chair? Young men should sit on the floor.
Well, I had a back problem a while back when I was in Krishna's game field, so I sit in the chair anyway.
Your back hurts now?
No, not now.
Then you should sit on the floor. Repeat after me. Sattvam Rajastama iti Akatena Mano Gunaha Natesham Yugapad Rajan Rasa Urasa Evava Sattvam Rajastama iti Akatena Mano Gunaha Natesham Yugapad Rajan Rasa Urasa Evava. Okay.
Sattvam
Rajastama iti
Prakriternatmano gunaha Natesham
Yugapad Rajan
Rasa Ullasa Eva
Rasa Urasa Evava. You gonna do it?
I don't have any.
You know? Okay. Sattvam, the mode of goodness.
The mode of goodness.
Raja, the mode of passion.
The mode of passion.
Kama,
Kama,
the mode of ignorance.
the mode of ignorance.
Iti, thus.
Thus,
Prakrite, of material nature. Na, not. Atmana, of the spirit soul. Guna, qualities. Na, not. Tesham, of them. Yugapat, simultaneously. Rajan, O king. Asa, diminution. Ulasa,
Ullasa,
prominence. Eva.
Eva.
Certainly.
Certainly.
Va.
Va.
Four. My dear King Parikshit, the material qualities, Sattva Gun, Rajagun, and Tamagun, all belong to the material world and do not even touch the Supreme Personality of Godhead. These three gunas cannot act by increasing or decreasing simultaneously. Repeat after me. My dear King Parikshit,
My dear Parikshit,
the material qualities,
the material qualities,
Sattva-gun, Rajagun, and Tamagun,
Sattvagun, Rajagun, and Tamagun
all belong to the material world
all belong to the material world,
and do not even touch
not even touch
the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
These three gunas cannot act
These three gunas cannot act
by increasing or decreasing
by increasing
simultaneously.
simultaneously.
Oh, that's purple. The original position of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is one of equality. There is no question of his being influenced by Sattva-gun, Rajagun, or Tamagun. For these material qualities cannot touch the Supreme Lord. The Lord is therefore called Supreme Ishvara, Ishvara Paramakrishna. He is the supreme control. He controls the material qualities. Daigihi Shugunamai Mamamaya. Maya Dakshina Prakriti Suyate. Material nature, Prakriti, works under his order. How then can he be under the qualities of Prakriti? Krishna is never influenced by the material qualities. Therefore, there is no question of partiality in the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Om again to the Sri Guru Vaishnava Sri Guru Sadhyatam
Sadhvaitam Sadhutam Parijana
Parijana Setam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Pada Sahagana Radhika Sri Vishakam He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandha Jagatkate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namosite Tapta Kamshana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishwamana Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vanchakapa Turubhyasha Kripa Sindhu Bhevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sri Vasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama. The original position of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is one of equality. There is no question of his being influenced by Sattva-gun, Rajagun, or Tamagun. Just as Krishna is not touched by Rajagun, Tamagun, or Sattva-gun. The spirit soul of us, the individual jiva souls, and are pure. We are pure in our unconditioned state, are also above the material modes of nature. But when we come under the envious of Krishna and don't want to serve Krishna anymore, then we are put into the material world. And here we come under the laws of material nature, three gunas, and we're marginal potency. Tatastha Shakti, we can be under the control of the superior energy. We are superior energy, Krishna is superior energy, but we can, because we're tiny, and not independent. They come under the control of the laws of material nature that would leave Krishna. By our own free will, it's not an accident that we're all here. We're here, just like the people in prison, it's not an accident that they're in prison. They're there because they don't want to obey the laws of the government. And Prabhupada gives that as the definition of religion. Religion means the laws of God. And yeah, so you can choose not to obey the laws of God, just like you can choose not to obey the laws of the government. It's your choice. You can go out and kill somebody or commit any kind of crime you want. It's up to you. But you're not independent. You're under the laws of the government. And so every conditioned soul, we're independent. We can do what we want. We can choose to run away from Krishna, try to be independent, but we're not. And we don't obey the laws of Krishna, then we come into the laws of Krishna's external energy, and we're put into the prison of the material world. And Prabhupada, he generally gives when he talks about the laws of God, he generally says, adds to it, he says that it's like you can't make up an ordinary average citizen, any citizen, you can't make up your own laws. You can't write a law and say, okay, this is the law for the country. No individual citizen can do that. But so similarly, people, you can't make up your own religion, which is very popular in Kali Yuga. It's very popular in this age. There's that famous quote by L. Ron Hubbard, the founder of the Scientology movement, which is kind of a quasi-religion. And he was a science fiction writer of books before he was the Scientology founder. And so he was making some money writing books, but then he began the Scientology movement. And he said, if you really want to get rich, you have to start your own religion. So that's what everyone is very popular in these days. This is my religion, I'm God, or we're all God, or whatever their particular fanciful dream imagination is. But so just trying to have your own religion, but it's not possible.
What was his name?
L. Ron Hubbard. L. Ron Hubbard.
Harvard.
Hubbard. Hubbard. He started Scientology. And yeah, so you can't make these are just the general things that Prabhupada always mentions when he brings up this topic. And anyway, the point was trying to get at was that we're also above the laws of material nature as long as we're surrendered to Krishna. Prabhupada is not controlled by lust, greed, envy, anger, the three modes of material nature, because he is directly coming from Krishna Loka on Krishna's instruction to save the conditioned souls. And so many other great saints and sages and avatars of Krishna throughout time. In ISKCON, Prabhupada is recognized as the Shaktivesh avatar, a human being who's a jiva soul who's specifically empowered by Krishna with a certain potency. His potency is to preach to the conditioned souls and bring Lord Chaitanya's movement and spread it all over the world. We went to Commonwealth here yesterday. Nobody can do what Prabhupada did. Who can do what Prabhupada did? Leave India at the age of 70 years old with no money, just a couple of trunks of his Bhagavatams, which is the best wealth, but it's not money in the material sense. So he came without any money, without anything, and at a very advanced age, having heart attacks on the way over on the ship. Having a heart attack is a very serious thing, I know from experience. And of course, they didn't kill him. He recovered. He thought if it happened again, he wouldn't survive. But Krishna brought him along safely, and he came here and he spread Krishna consciousness all over the world, single-handedly. Not single-handedly. As time went on, he had a lot of help, but none of it could have happened without Prabhupada. Especially in the beginning, the very beginning, there were all the young devotees who didn't know anything. All they knew was Prabhupada. And Prabhupada he gave Krishna consciousness, but basically he gave Prabhupada Swamiji consciousness. Not that he ever said that or intended that, but that's how Krishna consciousness developed. Nobody had any understanding or realization of Krishna, especially in the very beginning, but they knew Swamiji, and he's a supreme person, a supreme guiding principle, supreme authority for all the devotees. And so that's it. And he did it. He spread Krishna consciousness all over the world. You can look at it and say that, all right, he did it. Other people have started movements. Other people have done things like that. But nobody started like Prabhupada did with nothing. And nobody spread Lord Chaitanya's movement, the Sankirtan movement, of pure devotional service to Krishna with no if, ands, or buts, no decrease in the teachings, there were so many allowances for the people that he was preaching to who didn't know anything, but never any watering down or minimization or anything like that. And so it's very difficult. And everyone knows the famous quote from Prabhupada. He said, on more than one occasion, he said, I thought when I came here and I told people no meat eating, illicit sex, intoxication, or gambling, he said, I thought they'd tell me, go home. And of course, he didn't go home, and many early devotees started to follow him very sincerely. And I heard Prabhupada say in a lecture this morning, there's all of Prabhupada's lectures are extremely, supremely valuable for anyone, but especially for the ISKCON devotees, ISKCON followers. And Prabhupada was talking this morning, and he said that when Krishna sees that a person, a conditioned soul, is turning to him with some sincerity, Krishna says, oh, my friend wants to come back to me. My friend, we're all Krishna, everyone is Krishna's friend. we don't want to, the conditioned soul doesn't want to admit it or doesn't want to hear about it. But everyone is, every part of Krishna's parts and parcels is Krishna's friend. So when Krishna sees someone trying to find him with a little sincerity, or just in general find some truth in life, trying to make sense of the world, four kinds of pious people turn to Krishna. One is the inquisitive person. One is a person who is actually in search of knowledge. And of course, one is in distress, one is in need of money. So, for any reason that anyone turns to Krishna, Krishna thinks in any way, even the smallest way, just a little tiny way, if anyone starts to turn towards Krishna, Krishna thinks, oh, my friend is turning to me and he wants to come back to me. And then Krishna makes arrangements for that person to meet Krishna's representative, Krishna's pure devotee. He makes the arrangements, and Prabhupada quotes there, Guru Krishna Prasadi Pai Bhakti Lata Bij, the mercy of the spiritual master and Krishna. One gets a seed of devotion, a person gets a seed of devotional service. So, and Prabhupada said that when somebody wants to turn to him, he brings him in touch with a bona fide spiritual master into cyclic succession. And that spirit, the person turns to that person, and that person connects the new devotee with Krishna. The spiritual master and Krishna work together to give us Krishna's mercy. And then Prabhupada said that he talked about the word fortunate. And Prabhupada frequently uses that word, fortunate, to refer to the devotees. And he said, generally as I grew up in the United States, if we hear the word fortunate, we think, oh, chance or luck. I don't know if you think that, if that's the way you think of it in India growing up. But that's how we always think of the word fortunate in the United States. And so it's a question. It was always a question in my mind. Well, what does it mean, fortunate? Does that mean it's just luck that someone meets with your devotee? But that, of course, that's not our philosophy. Everything is Krishna's arrangement, especially with the most crucial thing. It's not like winning the Powerball or becoming a rock star or becoming a president. It's billions of times infinitely more fortunate than any of those things to become a devotee. Devotee is the most important, most fortunate person in the world, and that could ever be. So Prabhupada said, fortunate means that the person is serious and sincere. That's what it means to be fortunate. The more serious, it's like everyone here is very serious about Krishna consciousness, very sincere. We all know each other here, and we know that everyone here is very serious and very sincere. Otherwise, why would we get up at 4 o'clock in the morning every day and chant 16 rounds and follow the regular principles and dedicate our time and effort and our lives to the service of Guru and Krishna? You don't do that unless you're really serious and really sincere. And so and Prabhupada said in that lecture with great emphasis he said, all the devotees, he was talking to his disciples, is in Vrindavan in 1972. It's a group of lectures from the series. It's called the Lectures on Nectar of Devotion. You can listen to them, read them. It's a wonderful series of lectures by Prabhupada. He said, so it's in Vrindavan, he's talking to his disciples, and he said, probably for most of them, it was their first time in Vrindavan, and everything is new. And Prabhupada talked a lot about the glories of Vrindavan and the great fortune, the great good fortune of anybody who is in Vrindavan. And he talked about being very careful in Vrindavan to avoid sinful activities. Yesterday we read in ISKCON in the 70s from Satsvarup Maharaj's notes with Prabhupada in Vrindavan. He said the service in Vrindavan is 100 times more valuable, and any offenses committed in Vrindavan are 100 times more bad. And he said, but anyways, even if you're sinful in Vrindavan and you have to take birth as a monkey or a dog, it's still Vrindavan, and you're still on your way back to Godhead. Anyways, he spoke about being in Vrindavan. Yeah, so in talking about fortunate, but the Prabhupada said, he said, all the devotees are the most fortunate. He said it like that, real loud and a lot of stress. We should consider ourselves very fortunate, the most fortunate people in the universe. I don't know. I grew up in the United States. I'm just a stupid American kid. But somehow or other, I'm the most fortunate person in the universe, in the world. And so are you, so everyone here. We don't know how we became the most fortunate, but there it is. We're supremely fortunate. And we just have to stay fortunate, keeping under the guidance of our spiritual master in Krishna consciousness. Anyway, one thing I wanted to do was read. I was just in Gitanagari, and there's an old devotee couple there, and Yadunandana and his wife, his mother, Taruni, and they started coming to the temple in 1966 at 26 Second Avenue, and they were chanting a little bit. 3 years later, they had a house in Columbus, Ohio, and they knew some of the devotees from previous contact from New York City. And one day, one of their Prabhupada was on his way to a lecture at either Ohio State or Ohio University, and they called them up, Taruni and Yadunandana, and they said, Prabhupada is on his way to this university. Can we stop at your house for a little while? Out of the blue, they called them up. Can Prabhupada stop at your house for a little while? And so I said, yes, of course. And Prabhupada came to their house, and he was on his way to, after the lecture, he was going to go to New Vrindavan. And this was 1969. So New Vrindavan was just one old farmhouse building, no running water, no electricity, walk a couple of miles through the woods to get to the house, and very austere, very a few devotees there. It's like just a few devotees. But because Prabhupada was going there were quite a few other devotees there from other temples. And so Prabhupada was there, and Taruni and Yadunandan, and they went there too because their devotion had been awakened by Prabhupada's presence in their home, and they went to New Vrindavan, and they sold everything or gave away everything in their house and moved to New Vrindavan. And they have a 1.5-year-old baby. Stories like that are not unusual, especially today also, but especially then during Prabhupada's time. Incredible stories like that are not unusual. So they moved there, and anyway, I told one story yesterday when the husband, Yadunandan, he went up to Prabhupada's room in the darshan, and Prabhupada, he didn't, as soon as the Yadunandan came in the room, and there were other devotees there, as a darshan, and Prabhupada said to him, he said, everything is all right. Everything is all right. Everything is all right. 3 times. And it's not like this saying, it's not just, like a mother will say to a baby, it's okay, everything is all right. It may be all right, it may not be all right. There may be a war going outside. Whatever, the kid might have cancer, or any incredible thing might have happened, but the parents, everything is all right. But it's not like that, not done in some not like way, but some insecure way. The Prabhupada says everything is all right, then everything is all right. Everything is all right. You don't have to worry about the material world anymore. You don't have to worry about the 3 modes of material nature anymore. You don't have to worry about being separated from your dearmost friend anymore. You're connected again. So everything, literally everything is all right. And as long as we just have to stay with our spiritual master within Krishna's mercy, then everything is all right. We'll struggle. We'll definitely struggle. Every devotee has their struggles. Some rebelliousness is still there. Some reluctance to serve, to surrender, to desire to rebel is still there. But we've got it pretty much under control. It's not the dominant force in our consciousness anymore, as it is for the gross materialist or the average jiva soul. Even the very pious jiva soul, they still want okay, I'll obey the laws of God, and I'll try to be I'll be a good person. Many people, is an idea that you can be good without believing in God. You can just be good just because you desire to be good. But of course, we know that that's not true. You can't be actually good unless you're under you accept God. You can't deny the existence of God and be good. That's the essence of being bad. It's the fundamental principle of being bad. There's no God. That's really bad. It doesn't matter how many little old ladies you help cross the street, or how much money you give to charity, or how many animals you rescue and find homes for, or how much plastic you recycle. If you don't accept Krishna, don't accept God, and you can't be good. No such thing. Anyway, I just wanted to give a little background on Mother Taruni. She's a sweet little old lady. So super nice old devotee, been chanting Hare Krishna for 58 years and been initiated since 1969. And they've been living in Gita Nagari now for many years. Had children and grandchildren in Krishna consciousness. And they've been through many struggles with their children and grandchildren, different reasons. But they're great, great devotees. But I wanted to read. This is a dream that Mother Taruni had. Let's do it this way. And then again. This is a dream that she had some years ago about Krishna. Krishna came to her in a dream. And I have no doubt by the description of it that Krishna definitely appeared to her in a dream. Okay. So this is called, she gave it a title, The Ocean of Mercy. So in the dream, all of a sudden, I found myself aware of a deep, overwhelming sense of hopelessness. So unending, unlimited sense of hopelessness, similar to the idea of samsara without any mercy, just no way out. And then, just as that was engulfing my consciousness 100%, there was Krishna. I remember him being kind of higher than me. So I was looking up, and in the dream, the whole time, everything had a sequence and yet a sense of almost happening simultaneously. So there's Krishna, and he is so beautiful, and he has an effulgence, which is also very captivating and beautiful. But the most relishable and captivating aspect when I looked at the Lord was the beauty of his face, particularly his eyes and his smile. His smile was just so endearing and lovely, and his eyes were just penetrating. And beauty is the main thing I remember. Everything. He was just so beautiful, so captivatingly beautiful. And then I could see the effulgence around him, which was lovely, but it was his eyes and his smile. And then he spoke to me with his eyes, but I heard words, but somehow I knew they were coming from his magnanimous eyes. He said, "There is no problem that my beauty is not sufficient to dissolve." And then the feeling of snow melting on a sunny day or fog dissipating when the sun comes out, the sense of evaporation or lifting. And I could see that the hopelessness I was feeling was not substantial, that it was just like so much fog. I could have put my hand through it the whole time. It was not substantial. So the sense of illusion being so deep and so thick that it seems real was lifted. And again, it happened simultaneously that I kind of, from his beauty, I knew what he said, but he did speak it. It was almost simultaneous, like I was realizing as he spoke or just before. It was just so amazing. And then the whole time I was just relishing his beauty. The beauty contained all mercy, all love, all strength, everything desirable. It was completely full of everything that you would want, full and fulfilling. And so I was just there relishing. I didn't do anything. I didn't bow down. I didn't say anything, but I was just relishing his beauty. It goes on some more, but this is a fact. We that sense of hopelessness, and everyone in the material world sometimes we feel hopeless, and we feel like the material energy is just so overwhelming, and we can feel very hopeless, very bad. Just I don't know.
Discouraged.
Discouraged, definitely. It's hopeless, which is a lot more than discouraged. And very you feel miserable. You feel like that hopeless. So that's everyone's. We don't always feel that. We don't feel that so much or so often. But that is everyone's condition. Every conditioned soul's condition in the material world, that the situation is literally hopeless. There is no hope in the material world. We try to build up this person. We have friends, relatives, family members. We have the government that we think we can depend on that will protect us. But everyone is a fallible soldier. No one can actually protect us. No one can save us. The situation is always hopeless. But then she describes